Hello, this is the year two retrospective. Yeah, so year two's done now. There's been quite a lot of work that's been achieved. If I just grab it up for you, you will see if I go to where is it? Where is it? Not that one. Silly me. I forget every time. Projects. This project. If we just narrow it by year, I'd say we've done pretty good. I only moved to a GitHub style development, where I'm putting the tasks on GitHub, I'm uploading it to GitHub, I'm committing to GitHub, all that sort of stuff, branches. I only started doing that in January of, I always lose track of the years, not January 2024. So you will notice that year one is quite light on tasks. So they call them issues, but the tasks, the bugs, the new stuff, broken stuff that needs fixing, new stuff, refactoring things. I use it universally, just like you would do like a task in like ADO. Um, Even though GitHub refers to them as issues. So I believe I'm 70. Let me just right click, duplicate it. Let me just double check. I believe I am 70% the way through. Um, oh, I'm clicking all over the place. Let me just get it. I, of course, when you try, you try and get back to it, everything's a freaking nightmare. Right, here we go. Yeah, I got to it another way. I'm 70% the way through year two. Uh, in terms of tasks, in terms of workload, in terms of what I set out for myself. Well, everything I made, I was like, oh, I'll do that in year two. Well, I'll do that in year two. So, yeah, technically, it's a pass, isn't it? So, I'm pretty pleased with that, considering 70% complete. We're talking, what, 697 separate closed issues. So you'll see these days I bracket them with like the key thing they are. So refactor, tag refactor, and year two is what year it is, and then design depending on what sort of thing it is. For example, if it was like a code change, then I'd put in code as a tag. If it was a code and design change, I'd put on both in, like you see here. If it was just a design change where it's like I've done the code, but I just wanna, I'm like, man, I like this code, but I only want this code to happen on XYZ rather than ABC. That would be like a design change. So there's a bit of a semantics to it, but you can see uh, these days I the key element of what it is here. Let's see if I can find some older ones for you. There we go. So originally it was just like that, and then I'd many less tasks. So if I just explain broadly what we've done, this is where ADO would come in really handy, like Azure DevOps, because then you just have functional requirements or like user stories, wouldn't you? You have features, epics, user stories, and it could be like, oh, I've done this feature, I've done that feature. So GitHub is a bit lackluster in this style, but yeah, we've done a lot of overhaul work. I'm talking if we just look through the assets, I tend to keep the older assets, even though I might never use them. Sometimes because about halfway through year two, I went through a refactoring, well, more like an enhanced process where, I keep on talking about version 2, version 3 sprites, and version 2 is 70 by 70 pixels, and version 3 is 140 by 140. Well, that's why I've kept the old assets because everything bit by bit got an upgrade. But let's just say, like, I'll just pick this. Let's pick the desk fan. And you can see on here is V2, but if we go back to V1 and V1 flipbook, see, it used to look like that. And look how choppy that is. I probably didn't need to have these many things in and these many different sprites. I probably could have done something clever. But either way, that's like a version 1. And let me get you a version 2. There you go. So you see the difference. Let me zoom out a bit. I bet it will. I bet I can never line it up. There you go. But you can see what I'm kind of working with, can't you? And the difference being, if I do Alt and 3, unlit and lit, you can only really see it slightly, but look at the center. Like imagine a fan. It's like it's curved, isn't it? It's like a dome at the front. It's not flat, so it's slightly lighter on the front, and you can see it's slightly darker on the blades when you do lit. Only very slightly, only very slightly. And this one, there's no difference. Well, there is difference, but it's very poor. So you could see where the normal map's affecting it here, like 1 pixel there, few pixels here, but we're working with double the pixels, and that is just that's just one use case. That's just the desk. That's the desk fan loop, and then these come from sprites, and then as you know, because of version 3 sprites, it's 140 by 140 pixels, and you definitely think it, Nick, that is an absolute waste, and you are right. The emphasis is 140 by 140 squares maximum. Otherwise, if everything was 140 by 140, everything would be cubes, wouldn't it? But you see, it's the maximum headroom. So in a version 2 sprite, if I was like, oh, it's 7 pixels wide, in a version 3 sprite, it would be 14 pixels wide. So yeah, there is a bit of an art form of let's make it better, but then not make it without making it overwhelming. If we look at this, I think I've done the normal map wrong there. You see that? That doesn't look right. But if we just look at this, for example, this is a version 2 of a dresser. So we've got the open sprite, and click here. That's the open sprite, and that's the closed sprite. And if we do unlit, look at the bottom. You see kind of what I'm going for? It's very subtle. And year 1, I didn't even really use normal maps. I knew of them and I used to avoid them in uni, in undergrad. Like, I do the bare minimum in normal maps because I was just like, oh my god, like, where do you even begin? So I went through not only making them, but before I started making these normal maps, I went through a whole process this year of being able to do it. And now, if you give me a color palette, I can make you a normal map. I can color it in for you, just like crayons. You know, like kids with crayons and paper and stuff like that. A lot of a year 2 has been a lot of transformation from where do I even begin to I can do it with my eyes closed now. Not everything, not everything. So blueprint interfaces still trip me up every now and then. What else? What else? But stuff like this, where I've got like the card reader for the card reader situations where it can trigger the door, and now it works on construction scripts. Construction scripts. That's right. That isn't. I'm using the right word. Like taped, and then like reverse taped, and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, construction scripts. So for another example, I was like, well, I know event tick's bad, so we don't want event tick. So I only really use event ticks for debugs now, except from a handful of cases which have been logged as issues and need to be changed, which I'll talk about in a second. But things like that. I used to see the construction script here. I used to be like, oh, close that, don't need that. And now I keep it open. Why do I keep it open? Because I finally found a purpose for it. Like, you might be thinking, oh, can't you just use like event begin play above, see above, or event construct and construct, and some of them have event construct and event pre-construct. I think that's like widgets. but I'm not going to digress just yet. Where am I? Door. But other blueprints, I believe actor blueprints, like if you look on the top right, the actor type of blueprints has a separate construction script here. And you're thinking like, why, Nick? Why are you using them? Why don't you just dump it in a begin play, or why don't you just have it like a do once function? Do it on begin play, and it pings it, and it's done. And yeah, you could do. The difference is it's using things for their right purpose, and using you can open a door by smashing off its hinges, can't you? You can open a door by shooting the lock off. You can open a door by unlocking it. You can open a door by checking that it's locked and then it's using the handle. You can open the door by unscrewing it at its hinges. And you see each thing does the same thing, gets you the same output, but there's there's nuance, isn't there? You don't take the door off the hinges just to open the door to get in your house, do you? But it gets the door open, and this is all what year two has been about for me. It's going, oh, I can stick on event begin play, or I could do like a do once trigger thing, or I could do that, or I could do that, but why don't I do it the proper way? And for example, when the door is constructed, it checks to see if it's tapeable, and then it checks that it's taped, and then it checks whether it's the exit or not. And that is why now, rather than having to play it like before, it used to be on begin play, so I'd have to play it to see if the door was changed. The door look like that this way. I wouldn't be able to do stuff like this. I wouldn't be able to tape it on the fly. Wouldn't be able to do all these different tweaks. And the reason why I can is because I'm using the construction script and I'm using it properly. So yeah, year two has been a lot of understanding, realizing there's many ways to do things, refactoring the things that I've got V1 working, but not perfect. Like a petrol car can probably run on diesel for a few minutes, I imagine, but it's not going to do any good, is it? Um, but yeah, um, that's basically all of year two. I talk about in general across videos and in work life and doing game dev life. I talk about my four versions, which if I show here, I have labels for them. If I go to issues, you see we have initial, which is version 1. We have refactor, which is version 2. We have pre-polish, which is version 3, and we have polish, which is version 4. Version 1, get it up and running. Version 2, refactor it. Like if I took the door for example, version 1, dump it on begin play. Version 2, put it into construction script. Version 3, it's kind of there, it's kind of slick, but it's just not like game ready. Version 4, it's ready to go out the door, sort of thing. And that's the logic I use for all my version 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or if you see, when I reference it, initial, refactor, pre-polish, and polish. We've got we've got like less than a handful of things in pre-polish, like version 3. So like the penultimate version. We've got a few things still in version 1. We've got loads of stuff in version 2. We've got nothing in version 4 at the moment. So what that means in real terms is we've got a few things that are still working but probably not ideal. We've got a whole boatload of stuff that is almost ideal. And well, we've got a handful of things, less than a handful of things that are almost ideal, version 3. We've got a boatload of stuff which is close to being nearly ideal, and we've got nothing that's like, ready to rock out the door. Um, so year two's done, and with that we've got I would say every single widget we need, every single key interactional situation. So we've got document. If I just go to widgets now, if I go to law, you see we've got a law widget which is universal for where it checks whether it's a document, an image, a photo, a book, for example, and then these disappear or reappear depending visible or invisible depending on what type it is, whether they have pages, for example. We've got things, let me just close all these. We've got like computer widgets, computer logon widgets, we've got a radio pager widget. That's all new, all brand new shiny stuff. We've upgraded the ammo widget. Like it now says like reloading or changing ammo, or there's like dot dot dot, you know what's going on. We've upgraded the message widget, so when you go to use the door and it goes, hey, it's locked, hey, it's still locked, rather than you pressing E and going, why isn't this door working? Is this door painted on? Or is this door an actual door we can get to? Now you'll get a prompt. It'll say it's locked or not. Uh, we're in the process of migrating all the widgets necessary to a main widget. So then this is done on begin play, and then it's just make them visible, invisible when you need them, which means we can do things like if I play it now, I have a something on tick, which I got I inventory widget, N equipment widget, C crafting widget, Q quest journal widget. What else is it? There's probably a few others I can't remember. I haven't got the radio, so I can't use it. Um, I use this. It should say storage widget. No, oh no, it doesn't on storage widget because storage widget is separate, I believe. I think. But then we've got. Oh yeah, it's locked, isn't it? Let me. Is it 0 to unlock it? No. 1. I can't remember how to unlock it. Dot. 2. 2. It's 2. There you go. You got computer widget. I can't remember the password. Is it John? And is it sausages? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. You see what I mean? Like you can see what I'm trying to do, can't you? You can see it coming to life. Like I press L, got the light on. We we can go like perspective mode. We can do orthographic. Let me do this full screen for you. We can turn the lights off, and then the shadows come through the like the rectangle light from the outside. You see the light gets blocked by the pillar, which on the top of the head. The normal maps for the characters are not done. That's why the characters look real jarring when they're in light. Um, oh, so unlit F2, F3. So, but they look real weird, don't they? That's because I used a thing called Asprite, which does edge normals, which just colours the edges. Which is it's not ideal, and that's why everything that's not being hand done, essentially everything, every enemy, every NPC, and your character do not have edge normals done through this Asprite piece of software. Um, wasn't I still had to do it. It's just like it's an algorithm that does it, outputs it for you. Meanwhile, everything else has hand drawn normals. So I've done every single one of everything else. But we're going to here. You see, we've got like a Resident Evil door thing. I know I made that in like level year one. Um, this will flicker because it needs to load up each variant of the 3D mesh of the wall. But you see the here you go, so stuff like that. So it's not perfect, and I've just realised I must have like a pixel less. We do that. We can go like lights. That's way too bright these days. You see, we're getting there. We're getting there. You can kind of see it start to come to life. We go into the hallway. What have we got? What have we got? It's a bit dark at the moment. Uh, the writing on the wall is because it's preview lighting. It just you can turn it off, but when Unreal crashes, it forgets to keep it off sometimes. I can step on the lights. So there's bugs there, but there's things to work through. This is the prologue, so yeah, I don't want to spoil too much of the story and stuff, but you can kind of see what I'm going for. What's Jackie's computer? Is it Jackie 1234? Oh yeah. Nothing in there though. Ah, oh, I've pressed escape. Sorry. Um, yeah, let me run through a few of the levels for you. Prologue. Um, Hall. Don't save. Hallway. Hallway's gone through a huge amount of change. If I press F2, you see the floor. Um, the floor's got like alpha. I used in alpha to like what you see in their grill. It's because it's not showing those pixels. I've used the alpha to mask it. So the if there was a light underneath it, like there is on the lower hallway and upper hallway, you would see the light underneath it. You'd see things underneath these grills. But yeah, we're getting there, getting there. What have we got? Is that going to tell me it's locked, or is that just did I placeholder it? I think it's a placeholder. Yeah, it's not a real door on this one because in the prologue and Act 1 they share the same hallway, but you never go in it in the prologue. So I thought, why don't I paint it on and reduce the amount of. Why don't I use the sprite rather than the blueprint of the door and save a bit of performance? So I do need to set the locked functionality. It works for some stuff. I just right now it's a placeholder where it's a bool that says locked and it changes the name, but I need to set it all up. Got Barry's computer. Can't remember what Barry's is. Then is he floating a bit? Yeah, he is a bit. I need to sort that out. But you press E now, and that's changed to this interaction widget that I've set up. You see, it's giving you a quest on the top right. But I made this widget, and I'm pressing like the keys now, rather than clicking it. And I'm all this what you see is just me using my brain. Oh, this would be a cool idea to do. And then go like that, go like that, and then yeah, then he gives you some stuff to show you how to make weapons or crafting stuff or what else? What else? Let's go. Um, Turn the lights off. Sorry, Barry. And then you'll see like this, the stairs has been set up different. Let's go to perspective. Some things look better in perspective, some things look better in orthographic. The lighting will and the shadows will look better once I set the ranges properly. But we see things like the stairs, like I did like a version 1 and then a version 2 and now they're like 3D assets. Uh, so the stairs are now 3D rather than just like a 2D illusion. You see what I mean about being underneath? You can see the spotlights looking up. We've got stuff like we can go to cafeteria. Huh. That should have said cafe. That is interesting. I've never seen it do that. I think it's to do with me upgrading it and something just being out of source. But yeah, in the prologue we can get all this stuff. And we've got, okay, so we've got all this food. We don't know how to make anything though because we haven't unlocked the crafting menus. Even though you can probably figure out what to do with a hot dog, but could you in real life if you've never seen a hot dog before? So I know that's not a valid excuse, but yeah, you can craft stuff. You can craft food. Obviously, the food is kind of a bit of a novelty. Um, oh yeah, kitchen's locked in prologue. And I don't know if all of them talk. I need to give them text to talk. No, he doesn't say anything. Yeah, because that's a placeholder. And that's a placeholder thing where he talks to him. Uh, we've now got stamina where it temporarily increases the max stamina if you look on the top right.
You healed, boy.
A bit like, thinking about it just now, it's a bit like Valhelm, isn't it? Where the stamina foods, yeah, you increase your stamina recovery, but they also increase your max stamina. Um, yeah, kitchen's locked, isn't it? So that's locked. We've got the card post. We've got the storeroom. Jock stops you going any further. You don't really go any further in the prologue after that. So yeah, something's gone wrong with the variable that passes it through. We'll look at this now actually. But we can put like the light on here. Got an extinguisher. You do need an extinguisher at some point in the act. Act one. Act one. Yeah. I've not set that up yet though. Let's eat some chips.
You healed, boy.
Right, and then you can do like right click and read, and you see like it just, you know what I mean? It's just nice. It's just nicer, isn't it? Hover over it. It puts out fires. If I drop it, oh, did I put something funny in there? Used to put out fires. I thought it was something like that. Um, yeah, let's yeah, Atlas texture. That's because I was talking to that guy. You know, he had nothing to say and had like a generic thing. It said. Right, let me look at why it's going quirky. So, what have we got? I could show you this is the sort of stuff I do. So this is a bug. I will raise it and complete it, but let's complete on the fly. So what we've got is when we use that door and it's unlocked and it does the level transition, it's passing through the sprite, and that's how the door sprite changes. But this is master door. It should know what's the current sprite because the current sprite is what is shown. If we go to if we go to where I am construction script, is it check exit? No, that's to do with the door being rotated. This is to do whether it's tapeable, and then you get that. If it's tapeable, it can be locked, but you also get that like little taped thingy. This one, so check taped. So if it's not taped, the current door sprite, the default door sprite is the current door sprite. So we're just not changing the default door sprite, I imagine, on some of the doors. So then I go to the blueprints version of items, not the assets version of items. It's an interact, but you don't collect it, so it's a door. Let's quickly just chuck them all up. There's no master in here, and the master's somewhere else. These are all the separate versions. So current door sprite. Oh yeah. Because forget the master door. There's a scenario here. There's an edge. There's a. Is it an edge case? I guess it's kind of like an edge case where you check that it's taped and it's not taped, and then the default sprite is the current door sprite, but the default sprite is the default sprite of the master one still. So we need to just quickly change it. Go like that. Go close. Door 3. What even is door 3? Let's go to open and viewport. Right, it's a black door. Things like this where you just got to double check stuff. Sprite 4. You might be thinking, why do I do it here and then I do it there as well? That's because this was like a visual representation for it, and also um, when I dump it into the game world, that's what I see. But these are the variables which change it. Um, so we want door 4, isn't it? The current door sprite is door 4. It's not taped, and We don't have a game instance. You might be thinking there's an awful lot of variables here, and like, am I using them all? I'm using most of them. Some of them, again, this is where this is like it's like a version 2 door, where it's verging on version 3, but once I like limited down all the variables to what I need, then it would be like a true version 3. So this is master door, so that's fine, that's irrelevant. Door sprite we need. So we need 11. I'll just copy that and then I can just blast through it. 11, close, 10. Storeroom, isn't it? So just go store. That one. Oh, I should have just looked at the number. That's not helpful. Not that one, not that one, not that one. I think it's that one. No. Oh, is it this one? 2? It's 2. Right. So things like this where that's how you know it's just not ready. It needs that extra double check. Recreation room. That'd be easy enough to spot. Oh, I say that and then I pick the wrong one. It's the yellow one. So apologies, but I might as well show you me fixing it while I'm here. Observation room, one of the newer doors. I can't remember which one's which, to be quite honest with you. Let me get them all up. Comms, comms tower. Observation observation is 16. So we want door 16. That one becomes door 16. What has happened here is I've played around with the variables in the master and it's likely overwritten it at some point because these I'm usually pretty good at testing. Let me just double check. 10, not 10. Let's check this up a bit. We want lower, lower. So it's purple. Purple is 12. It's always good to double check. 12, and we go to 12. If you're wondering why they don't have taped sprites, that's because not all doors have the taped sprites. And obviously doors are doors though, so I need them to be universal. I need like a universal blueprint, sorry. So even though they're not all taped, they're just missing taped. Kitchen is that one, and then kitchen is that one. These are double doors, but I haven't got them set. Double door ball being true will have a different transition, so like the doors will open differently, but I haven't coded that yet. Same with sliding doors and things like that. This one is hanger. Hanger is there's hanger door left and there's hanger door right. Or why did I do that to myself? Let me double check what's going on. Hanger door left, hanger door right door. Did I create a separate one that's just hanger together? I did. Good. Yep. Double doors. As you can imagine, it's two separate doors, isn't it? So you've got the kitchen door, and you've got like the lift and the hanger. Lift is a bit different. I don't think I've done lift, but the hanger is two separate doors. One opens left, one opens right. But I need to create a separate sprite because these are 140 by 140 pixels. But then occasionally for doubles, I need to chop them in half. So like I've done here. So further up, they're chopped in half. Down here they are stuck together, and again you think, why do you have two different types? So we can do stuff like this. so the it can look like a normal door here, a single sprite movable entity, but then when you go to use the door, it's technically a left half and a right half, and they open, and it's just interchangeable. But for what we're doing right here, they need to be placeholders. We'll give it a quick little testy test. Let's go through a couple of doors both ways, and we'll know if it's working. It will have fixed the problem we had. I just need to double check that I haven't been overzealous and just created myself a new problem. So we nearly done. Comms tower. What's comms tower? 15. Comms room is 14. Okay, so 15, 15, 15. Comms tower? Yeah, tower. We'll do the current door sprite. I think we could have had the current door sprite blank for some of them. You know, the taped ones, but not the non-taped, because the non-taped then go through a different. They go through the false, don't they, of that bool logic. So it can be tricky sometimes trying to get everything sorted, but the passion's there. Like, I know what I lack in extra manpower, extra hands, extra time, I gain in being the universal version of truth. You know, like I've done it all. It's all in my head. So don't feel like it's too much of a nightmare situation for me. Like I've created everything, so I'm pretty comfortable. What is the armory door? I thought it was a different colour than that. Let me double check the armory door. Oh, there we go. I just called it armory. Why? Why have I just called it armory? I must have planned something. 60. We'll use 63 for now. Armory. There'll be a reason why I've done it as a separate sprite as well. I just don't know what that is right now. Door is this. Which one is it? So standard, I think. I think that's right. Yeah, yeah, door and then door taped. Technically, don't need door current, but let's stick it in anyway because while we're doing the rest of them, aren't we? Close, 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 and door alt. Is that a black one? Yeah, with a little bit there. Okay, so it's number one. So right, so we've done all the doors now. So we go like that. We do Control Shift S to brute force save everything. Do not trust it to save it. It will crash and you'll lose everything. Believe me. Right, so that's right. Let's correct door that way. Let's go to the black one. Let's correct door that way. Good. We're expecting it to be reversed, which it will be. There you go. So you see all these work on it loads it to a transition level, so it's actually loading up a separate level, and then I just have a little thing play like a little animation. Let's try. Oh no, that's the same colour one. Let's go downstairs to just check those others. Sarah's room, you can't go in yet. You can go in the communal bathroom on Prologue, so let's check it. Yeah. Kind of, if we've done it, if it works for one and all shares the same logic, it'll work for everything else. These, like, I've set them like that, but you see what would... Here is a very good example of a version 1. It's a privacy wall. If it's you, it's red. If it's anyone else, it's blue. And there's a part on Act 1 where you see blood and like scratches on the wall come all the way through here, all the way through here. And this one is occupied. In its version 2, it will be like frosted glass that comes up. And you'll be thinking, oh Christ, what's this? Sorry, I shouldn't swear. Oh God, what's behind there? And that's going to be version 2. This is a version 1. It functionally works as a privacy window, but it's not ready. But you see the functionality is there. And you look at the top, you see the light comes on for the particular cubicle you're in, and things like that. Um, Stuff like that. That's a really good example. Yeah, I'm pleased I showed you that actually. That's a really good example of like a version 1, and then this is like a version. I'd say the stairs are like a version 3. Not the handrails. Handrails are very much a version 2, but the 3D stairs have been normal mapped and everything. They're a version 3. Cafe should look normal, yep, and then it'll look the same on the way back. Oh no, I need to go out. There is an old bug which just rose its head up there. If you, if you press E now, it works. But if the player start where you start here is too close to the door's interaction, if you're already in the realm of the door's interaction, so you start inside its collision, you can't press E to open it. It's a really old bug. I thought I got that fixed. I think I fixed it by just making sure the player starts where, I'll show you, just a little bit outside. You see? So you start kind of like here and then you collide rather than you being inside this. But let me show you how I'll fix this one. This isn't just going to be a random Nick fixing random stuff sort of thing that I'm doing. I just want to show you um, how I go about it. So it was press G. It was cafeteria, but it was on the inside of cafeteria, wasn't it? So we want prologue cafeteria level. Yeah, so I think that'll fix it. Normally, mm, maybe because when you start you're colliding with maybe more than one thing, but still it shouldn't cause a problem. Let's test it now. So we started here, haven't we? We go up. Right, that's fine. It looks like it didn't fix it, but it did fix it because if I go up and press E now, it works. Remember before, we'd have to leave the collision area, we'd have to leave this collision box and then come back in to be able to use it. Now we just walk to it, so now it is working. Yeah, so you see there's lots to it. There's lots to do. Um, I really want, like, the next branch I'm working on now, the next two branches, if I drag them over, are these two. These will get level Act 2 and Act 3 levels fully populated, which you see we have nothing right now. We've got Prologue, we've got Act 1. Prologue is if we use the version 1.2.3.4, Prologue is V2 verging on V3. What will make it V3 will these each have their individual speeches. They'll be talking to each other, or they'll just be prompted to each other. They'll have new animations rather than just this static one. The lighting will be touched up. They'll have patrol points. Um, Shadows will look a bit slicker, all that sort of thing. That's what will make it a V3. So it's very much a V2. Act 1 is in parts a V2, like here, but in parts a V1, like here, where I haven't even done the armory. And then we get to hallway upper, which is very much like a V2. So let me just show you what happens here. Um, we go here, and it's locked anyways. So we go Alt E, removing tape. Press E, it's locked. So you see, normally you get a prompt saying I need to remove the tape, but it's locked anyways. You see. Then we go to this one, and this one will work. But stuff like this, like I'll show you something. I use the left alt and the right alt, to the left and right of the space bar. Might be thinking it's really dark. We look at that switch. That lowers the exposure. This increases the exposure. It's got like full exposure. And then I got this inspiration from sunshine. When they lower they lower the exposure protection when they're looking at the sun. And if I go to the light, you can't really see it much. You see, it does lower the exposure, the very very subtly. It's the rectangle light exposure. I think that's as max as it goes. I keep on bashing it. Yeah, but you see, like that goes left, right, left, right. This sort of cool functionality, um, which I really like doing. Um, yeah, so I don't want to like take up an endless amount of time. I just wanted to show you like a very half decent vertical slice of the gameplay being done. And obviously, there's bits that you think, oh, he's done real good functionality there, and you think, oh, he hasn't done any functionality for that. And you're right, there's still other bits I need to do. Um, there's there's a lot to do. Like these, I've already actually these worked in like a version 2 sprite where you could use a shutter to on the pixel power place uh, a shutter to open and close the shutters. Same for the dormitory. There was a shutter switch that would allow these to go up and down, which would then trigger the exterior light. So that needs to be done still. But if we go to like here, we can press L on the dormitory lights. We can tidy up the bedrooms. Like, see, we could turn them all on. It's got RNG in there, so there's not a lot of items that can go in the RNG, but you see it is all RNG. Once you've opened it, that information gets stored with the unique ID of what of this storage. So C has 2 medkits and 3 loose wire. I believe, unless I've broke it again, we come out, we come back. C will have 2 medkits and 3 loose wire, as long as it's not locked on the other side. Yeah, you're not supposed to go in. You're not supposed to go in. So I've broke my own logic by sneaking inside. I can't show you it. We've got things like the guard post. If I got like here, and you see we collect all the bullets, like kinetic bullets. We can't craft it because we haven't talked to Barry yet. But if I go talk to Barry now, um, I don't know if we have enough bullets to craft anything. Um, Let me get this. Let me get the scrap. I think we can craft something now. Uh, let's go to Barry in his room. He'll give us those. He'll give us that communication thing where we chit chat to him and he gives us the. Oh, what's he give us? Crafting recipes. So 1 second, and then I can show you the crafting work, even though we don't actually have a gun. There. Oh, we are. Oh yeah, it won't work. We're in Act 1 hallway. You see the blood there? I talked about the communal bathroom. There you go. See what I mean? See what I was talking about? But nothing's there yet. I just That's sort of suspense sort of thing I'm going for. Um, yeah. Um, hmm. I can't show you. I can't get the crafting things. I don't think because I don't think Barry's not going to be in his room in the Act One version. He's in the prologue, but you can see like a bit of environmental storytelling already. Not perfect yet. These rooms are now can be used. While I can't do the crafting thing, let's see if we can check the the dresser. B has 2 medkits. A has 2 medkits. C. Oh, I've touched too many. Oh my god, right. We're never going to remember all that, are we? No chance. Right, C and A and B have two med kits. It's R and G. We'll come out. We'll go back in. It should be two med kits because it goes to the game instance. I've done it too close, so I need to fix that same issue I had with the player start. Fix it another time. Two med kits. Oh my god. Alright, well it doesn't work anymore. So I've faffed about with it. Oh, it's it's working differently. You notice something? It's two med kits plus two med kits plus it's doing A plus B plus C and it's adding it to all storage things. So again, this is where you change something, you upgrade something, and something else goes wrong. I think what's happening here is it's looking at the storage class as a. I'll show you it quickly, but I won't fix it while I'm here. This will be the last thing I'll show you. I don't want to bore you. Um, that was lower dorms because we went upstairs. Yep. What's happening here is update container where the class matches the container class, then it removes it from the storage struct in the game instance, and then after it's removed it, it then feeds that. It's essentially going, okay, look at the game instance. Have we opened this before? Yeah, okay, what's inside it? Okay, good, got it. That's inside it now. Wipe the game instance because it's inside it right now. And then if we left the room and come back, it's supposed to add it to the game instance. And then we come back and use it again. It's essentially stopping it doing like a times two, like a duplication bug, where you'd open it, leave the room, come back, you'd open it, and it's got the original time you looked at it plus times two because you've looked at the same storage again. So two medkits become four medkits. So that's why there's a remove here. This is very much a version 2. It's close to being version 3, like pre-polish. So it removes it and then it actually adds it to the storage. See, it's the item array in the actual storage. It feeds it after it's completed, it loops through and it adds each one of those things from the game instance into there. What it's supposed to do is it's supposed to work on unique ID. The class is generic. The class is just small dresser. I think I've never tested this on small dresser. I think I've tested it on Barry's dresser, which is a different class, to John's dresser, yours, which is a different class, to Sarah's dresser, because they're all different types. And there's only one in each room. So it would never do what we just saw in the lower dorms because there's only ever one of it. But what the lower dorms just did then, we opened A, B, and C. They are the same. So then you've gone away, you come back, and then it's gone, oh, okay. So we've saved A, B, and C, and anything that looks like small dresser, A, B, and C, add it in. So we've saved three times. We've saved three dresses amounts, and then it's put three dresses amounts into each one. And these are the sort of like edge cases where I'd never tested it with duplicate dresses with just a different initial. That's the only difference. It's got a different name. So I've never used that logic to go, oh, okay, if the names work off the name, I've got it to work off the class. Because John's dresser is not Barry's dresser, is not Sarah's dresser, is not Jackie's dresser, is not small dresser, is not I don't have large here, is not large dresser. But small is small is small. So you can see it's an iterative process. You make new things, you tweak things, you make things better, you break some stuff. Um, but all in all, year two has gone really, really, really good. Um, I can't really complain. In terms of where I want year three to take me, year three starts in April and it ends in next March. So year three, this is pretty much a good example actually. Year three, what I'm wanting is Act 2 and Act 3 levels made 3D in Blender. So what you're seeing now when I move around the levels, they're like 3D dioramas. Fix a bunch of bugs. I'm just gonna look for bugs like this. I've got a tag. And I just do like bug hunt. There we go. I said it's got bug in it. So there's 3 pages. We've closed 232, so I'm real pleased with that. A couple of new bugs we've just spotted. Crush them. Multi-directional sequences, so change how John looks. So when he looks left or looks right, rather than it going off world, like your relative rotation to depend whether the sprite makes it look like he's looking left or right, it will use multi-directional sequences. I talk about it a few times. I've only watched one quick video on it. Octopath Traveler, one of the oh, I'm going to say Asian, just because I don't want to insult someone by saying they're Korean when they're Japanese. If I had to guess, I'd say Korean, but I probably just insulted her. She talks about multi-directional sequences. Um, so doing that, normal maps, normal maps for John. John's textures are done for the first 2 guns, and then in combination, if I show you here, I do it side by side. Um, John version 3. Oh, shall I show you version 1 actually, where it all began? There you go, version 1. The first thing I ever made for the game. The first thing, it wasn't even in Unreal. Wasn't even Unreal at this point. I was going to looking at Unity, but I wanted to eventually do some C++, and Unity wasn't first party C++, so I used Unreal. So that's version 1. Version 2, 70 by 70 pixels. Version 1, 35 by 35. Everything's a factor of 2. You see where we're kind of going. And then we got version 3. Close that now. Version 3. Here you go. And this is just for 2 weapons and variations. So we've got no weapons. We've got handgun holstered. We've got handgun unholstered. We've got no handgun submachine gun equipped. Handgun holstered submachine gun equipped. Handgun and submachine gun holstered. Submachine gun holstered. And those ends up creating like 8 variants. So I need to do 8 variants of, if you've got a sidearm equipped where you've got your secondary weapon, it's going to be doing that. It's going to be showing you this sprite if you were walking. See? And then there's one where you're running, and then there's like, yeah, there's like crouching, but there's a crouch one where he's got a gun in his hand somewhere. Because we were looking for sidearm crouch, weren't we? Sidearm crouch further up here somewhere. But you can see, oh yeah, 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 it's like it's a bit tricky. We've got the Utah Saints dance thing that I did for fun. I'll trigger it now actually so you can see it. Um, every now and then I forget it's there. If I press, is it this? Yeah, right bracket. He just he just starts doing the. Yeah, it didn't take that long to do. It was a worthwhile investment. But you see, that's like version 3 sprites for just 2 guns with the variations. But what happens when we get the shotgun or the flamethrower or the hand grenade or the plasma rifle or the heat rifle or the spear or the spear and shield, or you've got a spear and a handgun, and spears won't are only in like Act 1. Um, but just like makeshift weapons are in Act 1. But you see, all this sort of stuff all needs a new set of sprite sheets. So I not only will be doing more texture maps for John, but I'll need to do all the normal maps. Year 3 will just see me do normal maps of these. Maybe I'll touch up the texture maps and do normal maps of these, because currently there are no normal maps. If I show you what it looks like right now, texture. This is edge normals. You see what I mean? It just colours the edges. This was done with Asprite. These weren't hand painted. Meanwhile, when I talked about hand painted before, uh, let's pick a good one. Let's pick a good one. Unreal does a real nasty job of making it look. This is probably the nastiest job I've done for normals, but this is like a hand. Oh, no, I can't even show you that. That's not right. Unreal's making it look much worse than what it is. I didn't do it that bad. Collect. Um, Here you go. The normal maps for each one of the items. Again, Unreal does it really poorly. What you're supposed to be seeing is just imagine everything that's textured, all these textures, the normal colors completely cover just the texture and nothing else. Unreal makes it look like I've gone and just painted up. I've not kept it in the lines, but you can see each one of these are hand done. Unreal doing a great job to make it look like I don't I ain't got a steady hand. But normal maps for John, Asprite, and then texture maps for NPCs and enemies. The enemies and NPCs don't really have anything at the moment. Go to enemies. The most well-made ones are zombie, scientific. Is it scientific? No, it's not scientific, is it? It's medical. Medical. See, these have had the most love, but these are version 3s, and I've got a variance. So depending on what int it does, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, depends on which one you actually see. I don't pick which one. I could pick the integer, but the integer is rand within range. Um, rand int in range, I believe it's called, and it's called style randomizer. The variable, all the different animations, and this is it. So this is what you're going to expect with version 3 for all the enemies. But again, they don't have normal maps. The normal maps are actually the version 2. Well, they're version 3. There was a time when I made all the idols. I've done idols for version 3 NPCs and enemies, and that's why they look like that edge maps. But these, like version 2s, you see they're much more blocky, but still they're edge maps. But yeah, this year I went through and made a version 3 idle. Let me just get to it. Version 3 idle of each enemy. But you see, there's no walking, there's no dying, there's no walking up, walking down, there's no partial damage, there's no heavy damage, there's no you shot him in the head and the head goes pop things. All that sort of stuff is going to get done with texture maps. And you see, I've kind of done texture maps for NPCs, texture maps for enemies, then normal maps for NPCs, then normal maps for enemies. So I could chop it, I can mix it up a bit. And if I come up with a cool idea for an MP while I'm on NPCs, um, chopping and changing, I'll be like, oh no, actually, I'll do that for normal maps for enemies as well, rather than just doing it all blanket one go. And then upgrading the animations, so it works on animation blueprints, but I I had a proper brainwave on this one. So characters. Let me show you something. I made if I pick John's animation blueprint, John's animation blueprint kind of looks like this. That's the old stuff. This is the new stuff. So if you've got side weapon equipped, main weapon equipped, and what's your active weapon, and that's how it does that. Oh, so you've got a handgun, you've got submachine gun, and the handgun's your main weapon. Okay, we'll do the pistol state machine, and the pistol state machine is it's got idle, and then idle pistol holstered, idle pistol it's idle, so holster pistol, idle holstered pistol, and then there's like, well, these are all just pistols, but if you had the submachine gun one, you would see like idle. If I find you it, so PDW, so personal defense weapon, and pistol go to idle. You see, it's idle, holstered, PDW plus pistol, holster PDW plus pistol. So it's a lot of work. You can see that's quite bananas. But I managed to refactor it for enemies and NPCs, and I did a version 2 for enemies and NPCs, and I was like, it's cool. But once I did it like this for both of them. If it's Barry, if the name is Barry, then do Barry. If it's Craig, do Craig. If it's Pete, do Pete. And then right now we just got walk idle, and then walk up down, walk left right, idle. And then I did that for the enemies, and the enemies one was wild because the NPCs are just the NPCs, but the enemies are like uninjured, injured, badly injured, dead. Uh, Initial transition from uninjured to injured. So like, let's say you shoot them and their arm falls off. That'll only happen once. That's like a transition situation. Um, Meanwhile, when they're walking about injured, you don't want their arm to keep on falling off every time, do you? So, see, there's lots to it. So, enemy, not this one, enemy is massively being cut down. Um, I had it just like that master NPC one where it was just this. See, look at this. It's crazy. You see, it's not using it though, but it was crazy. Like zombie constant horror, if not injured, and then we've got zombie constant horror, initial damage, and then we've got like the if else. So, and then we've got style randomizer. So whether it's green, constant horror, like green t-shirt, or a blue t-shirt or green t-shirt, and then we've got they're injured, but they're not badly injured, and they're not resurrected. And then we've got badly injured, can be badly injured, are badly injured, and they're not resurrected. And then we've got like this was resurrected as a proof of concept. So we've got all these separate passes it goes through for each one of the enemies, and I thought this is crazy. This is a terrible idea. And almost the moment I did it, I was like, I can do it better. And now we've got a version 3 prototype. So I talk about V3 pre polish. I create it's almost perfect. There's only a situation where when they resurrect and they go to idle, they sometimes don't go back to moving. Something's not right between resurrect and idle. But all these, I just like gets the velocity. So if they're staying still. So if your velocity is 0, then you're still. If you're still, if you're there you go. If you are not, get velocity, nothing. So get velocity, and if nothing's happening, no velocity, then go from now. If you're not staying still, then go from idle to walk, and then we go on this one. If you are staying still, get velocity. Ah, let me restart. Current velocity. Is it 0? If it's a not there. If I scroll in with the control, it's a not 0, then you're moving. If it is equal to 0, your current velocity, then you're staying still. So idle. You see, walk goes to idle, right to left, and top one. Idle goes to walk, left to right. And then, there's true death is if you've been shot in the head, things like that. But you see, I was using the style randomizer and that crazy event graph, and it just looked crazy, didn't it? It was just awful, awful, awful. Now, I've got the actual enemies. I've done maps. So we've got an integer and we've got the animation sequence here. And if I go to idle, if I like it's empty here, but if I go to an actual instance of it, I pick the zombie one I said, because the zombie one's been done. If I go to medical zombie, full thing, we have, is it class, edit class settings? No, class defaults. One second, is it down here? I think I'm looking in the wrong place, to be quite honest with you. Oh no, there we go. You see animation blueprints idle, and then we've got zero, that bald zombie, and then we've got one hair, and then like black, and then black art alt, and then scarred, so the one where it's missing an arm, missing an eye. And I got, rather than having all the animations go through this thing and it tell you which is which which state machine to use. Version 3 prototype will only have one state machine, and then each one of these animations will be fed from the instance, the child. So if you're style 0 and you're not moving, you're going to get bald. You're going to get this one, bald zombie not moving. And if you are that scientific zombie that hasn't been fully drawn yet, the or like any other enemy, if your style is 0 and you're not moving, you will get it will use this animation sequence from this map, and you think, where are these all held? These are all held here, but they, each individual enemy, its own blueprint, this thing, so this is master enemy blueprint, are stored here. I picked the wrong one, sorry. Zombie medical are stored here. So zombie medical stores all its different animations, and then zombie scientific will store its own versions of these animations. So these will all be empty. I'll need to populate them for zombie scientific, and then it just becomes, rather than me having this insane thing of using names and bools and sequence and style randomizers to figure out what state machine they are, and each state machine's hard coded to what they are, I realized you could dynamically put in variables. And then, yeah, now idle is universal idle, and it'll just pull from whatever you've put in animation blueprint idle, depending on which style you're on. And there you go, and that's that. And that's a version 3 prototype, and that's what I'm talking about with this version 1, 2, 3, and 4. Version 1 looks like um, version 1 looks like something like this. It still kind of, well, it still does for the main character, um, like this, and it kind of will need to for the main character, simply because it's to do with like what you've got equipped. The enemies are more straightforward than the NPCs, but version 1 was like this for all of them, and then version 2 was like that monstrosity we just looked at, like this. It's insane. And then like the NPC version, which looks like this. Again, this is version 2. And what I will say additionally, version 1, each enemy and each NPC had its own animation blueprint. So this whole thing just for one. So then if I ever needed to change anything, if I had 20 enemies, I literally had to change 20 animation blueprints. If I got, oh, I've messed up the logic on this, I'd need to change that 20 times. And I thought, that's not right, that's not right. So version 1 was I had 20 separate, if I had 20 separate NPCs, I had 20 separate animation blueprints. Version 2, all animation blueprints put into one universal animation blueprint. Version 3, a super brilliant idea of just having one state machine in one animation blueprint and dynamically feed the variables from each individual enemy or NPC. That's version 3. And version 4 will just be cleaning it up to get rid of, for example, that weird thing that happens where they resurrect, but it doesn't trigger, go back to the triggering the animations. It's supposed to say resurrect equals true, death to resurrect, but then resurrect equals false because they've come back to life. So dead, resurrect true, they do that animation, come back to life. Resurrect false is when they're actually back to life. Then that's supposed to go back to idle, and then idle kicks off the whole process again. And sorry, my phone is I've got an alarm. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap up now. I think I've finished it well. Talking well again, version 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is the animation blueprints is a wonderful example of you see the progress where from 20 separate things to one insane universal thing to just one thing inside it. I just need to update the other, put in the other animations for each enemy and each NPC, each enemy in this one, and it'll slot in nicely. And then NPC will just have will need to have like its own version with universal where I just pass it through here, depending on what's in the master NPC there on the left. So that's that. Creating the extra items. So yeah, Act 2 and Act 3 items, we don't have any right now. Migrate all uh, interact enhanced input actions to player controller. So we've moved from input action to enhanced input action some time ago, earlier this year, and now we're in the process of controller, not not assets controller. Sorry, um, controller, my controller. I'm slowly moving all the interaction inputs to a player controller, and then the player controller has reference to that main widget, and then you can then interact with the main widget, and that's how it tells it what's in focus. When I was opening up all those different widgets earlier, and then like press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the keyboard or numpad. That's being set up through that with like a blueprint interface. We've got the radio pager, so you can open the radio, and I'm just slowly transitioning all these different widgets, functionality, and things like that into just what the player controller. That makes sense. You imagine you're holding the controller to control everything. It makes sense. It sits on the player controller, and it just has references to yourself and the main widget where all those widgets are stored. Migrate all widgets to main widget. Um, at least 95% of them. There is a case where potentially not, but we'll see. More music. So I've done a bit of music, but I really enjoy doing it. I've just not been able to give it enough love. So version 1 for music. Finally create puzzles because I've got puzzles in the game, just like Silent Hill and Resident Evil. I'm not at that point in my journey where I can start making them. Like I can do, and I can implement them, but I haven't earmarked a branch time as of yet in my journey, except from here, which will be in halfway through 2/3 way through year 3. And then breathe life into items. You see where you can tidy up some of the rooms. You can open and close drawers, and when you interact, you actually see the drawer open and close. You can turn lights on and off. Some lights start flickering on non-prologue levels. You can have to rip tape off doors. You need key cards to activate the key card that then opens the door. You get these prompts to say, "Hey, this door's locked anyway, even if we get the tape off." Stuff like that. Animation Blueprint V3. What I just talked about with that, like the only way I can describe it is like it's my finest moment. It's one of my most proudest moments of this project was me realizing I can use variables and I can just feed them variables in. Because when you do play sequence, there's a there's an expose. You click expose, and I was like, I can do variables. Because if I show you it now, see there, expose. Rather than having to drag and drop it, click expose, and then you can drag it in like that. That I found it by chance. I found it by chance clicking that expose when I was looking at something when I was working on Vision V2 animation Paper Z the animation blueprints, and it just revolutionized it. I was like, no freaking way. Did it all myself. So okay, honestly, one of the proudest moments. Um, and then yeah, AI Sense. I just released the video of the branch for AI Sense 2, and AI Sense 3 will talk about what I talked about in future branch section, the last timestamp in that video. Sorry, I'm getting tired. For V2, where I start saying like the enemies have intelligence, like they're not going to walk into a flamethrower. They're not mindless creatures. They're still this they even the most basic of creatures have self-preservation, don't they? Unless they're being controlled by a parasite. Um, so yeah, bring in sort of self-preservation into that, and that will. To be quite honest with you, I'll probably blast through this with about 2 to 3 months to spare, and then I'll have to add in extra branches, which is great because then that means more work gets done for year three. But year two's finished on, I'd say, a solid output compared to how year one you finished. Huge, huge progress. Really, really happy. You just need to look back at the year one videos and you'll see. Um, and then year three will finish with levels for all of them interconnected. Hopefully less bugs. Animation sequences just slick. Normal and texture maps for every single sort of interaction and movement, barring all the different gun variations. Because, I've got two guns for John, and I've had to do 8 different variations of sprites. So, barring all the separate guns, I'll create like a shotgun one, but I won't have like shotgun and no this, shotgun and this, potentially. So, barring all the different gun variants, style variants, that'll be done for John. All the animations and movements and just cool stuff will be done for the enemies and the NPCs, like loitering and just bring a bit of life into it. New items, yeah, slicker gameplay, so less overhead, so it should run smoother. I've got 4090 and like a 13700K and like a 32 gig of DDR5 7200. So obviously this game shouldn't be intensive. So I don't know what it runs like if you've got like a 980 Ti or something, or I don't know, like an 8800 GT, if anyone still has one. Um, so not, I need to make it performant for this at least, don't I? And then everything will run slicker. So that, and then tidy up the logic there. Cool music, puzzles, yeah, maybe keep out of the game. Just nice little quirky interactions. Yeah, there's animations, just slick, and then bit of intelligence into the enemies, and then that's year three if it wasn't being productive. But I'm gonna end up getting about 10 more branches in this year three, I imagine. So what that'll likely encompass that I haven't put here will be um, more quests, better gameplay loop in like shooting, um, cleaner animations, just tidying them up a bit, uh, having them enemies walk down and up animations rather than them kind of looking like they're standing sideways like Paper Mario sometimes. Things like that be really fun. End of year three will also have by then we'll have an action demo and a I guess you say like a story demo. Um, yeah, so gameplay loop without shooting everything up, and then gameplay loop of just shooting everything up. So you get the best of both worlds. End of year three, I'll probably have it um, properly on Kickstarter as well with like stretch goals because it's I think year four, year five, it'll be released in year four if maybe year five. So yeah, perfect time end of year three to start doing Kickstarter stuff. That's it's a long video, talked about a lot of stuff. That's that's me. This is my single long play year two video, and thank you. Have any questions? Or just chuck them in the comments. I don't mind talking about it. If you've got any ideas for yourself and you want me to like help and stuff, or you want to like bounce ideas off me, go for it. I'm on LinkedIn as well, so know that you'll be able to find me. Um, yeah, and I'll see you later.